Hello everyone, this is Nimish and today we're going to review the Kannada movie A. This movie is directed by Upendra who also stars in it and it also stars the actress Chandni. I just want to open up by saying that this movie is a perfect filmmaker's movie. There is nothing better that you can expect from a passionate filmmaker who really just wants to make a film. This film clearly shows how much art, poetry, knowledge, passion, ambition was involved in the making, that it didn't really worry if it was a commercial movie or an art movie or what it was trying to, make money, whether it would make money or not. It didn't care. And that's how every filmmaker should be. And this is the most perfect example of complete passion and nothing else. The writing, the acting, the story, the concept, the theme are so well written, so well planned out, so well edited, so well made that I was just blown away when I watched this movie. It was absolutely fantastic. Let's begin with the whole kind of idea of this movie. I felt that while watching this movie, there is so much poetry involved. There's so many themes that he tries to capture in very subtle ways so that it doesn't come across as offensive, it doesn't come across as something too much that is ahead of its time. Although the movie was ahead of its time, it doesn't come across as something that we can't accept because he puts it in so amazingly through the characters that he voices out his opinion very clearly through them without offending anyone. And I think that's one of the major things that I remember after watching this movie, and that will stay with me. For example, at one point he's talking about, there was a scene where he's on the cliff and she's at the edge of the cliff, and he speaks about love and all the ideas of love and what people think about love and what love actually is and how we are mistaken. And that was just one example of how amazing his brain might be and how amazingly, absolutely philosophical he is and poetic he is, and how he has these amazing ideas about life that most of us don't see. And not only me, but many other people might have actually agreed to those characters' points and the points he tried to make throughout the movie. But the thing is, it didn't come across offensive, and that's the beauty of filmmaking. You don't just shout out. That's like something that Rajkumar Hirani does of late. That he doesn't shout out something and say this is wrong or this is right. He puts it in a very subtle way in Three Idiots, in PK, whichever movie. He puts it in a very subtle way so the audience enjoys it, appreciates it, and goes home with some new learning without really taking offense to it. And this thing was done by Upendra years ago in A, and this movie's really stunned me after I watched it because it just completely drove me crazy. And you can imagine how I'm speaking right now. There's so much I want to speak about, and yet I have no words to describe how perfect this movie was. On the acting front, Upendra was fantastic. He went through crazy emotions in this movie, ups, downs, left, right, center, and he was really natural. Never did it seem fake. You can feel his emotional turmoil in the head that he's experiencing, and that is insanely more appreciative because he also directed the movie. He was also focusing on the editing of the movie, the non-linear screenplay of the movie. So many things were happening, yet he gave such a good performance, and that is something to be appreciated. We often see that many actors who also make films, if they do both at the same time, if they are the director and the actor, either they are not successful at one of the two, like their acting may be just average while the film was good, or the film may be average but their acting was good, or both were average, because it's a very difficult thing to do. You have to handle 300 people on the set. You have to think about how you're making a shot, how you're lighting the shot, how you might edit the shot later, which is the perfect take, while you also go and act in front of the camera. So it's very difficult to do, and that's why only legends in any industry can do it. For the Hindi film industry, the only people who have amazingly done it perfectly have been Raj Kapoor, Guru Dutt, and just a couple of other people. And that's why it's so difficult to do both and many other things at the same time. And I think he has done it amazingly. So his acting was brilliant. Chandni also did a fantastic job because throughout the movie, we have to guess whether she's good, she's bad, what is on her mind, what exactly are her intentions, is she really such a mean girl, is she not? And up until the last scene, we don't know what's on her mind. And that's the beauty of not only the filmmaker and the story, but her performance, because without her performance, it would be very difficult to kind of portray a kind of gray area, whether she's a good person or a bad person. And she had to maintain that gray area throughout the movie till the end. And that's very difficult to do, again, because you're not playing a particular shade, you're not playing positive, you're not playing negative. You have to keep the audience guessing with your performance, your eyes. And so that's what she did perfectly. I think her acting, her eyes are very strong, and I think that she really, really did a good job. So on the acting front and the performances, this movie was absolutely brilliant. Now, getting to the non-linear screenplay, I hear that many Kannadigas, when this film released, have watched it multiple times when it released to kind of understand exactly what's going on. But also till today, even in the recent movie Kirik Party, there was a small tribute to the movie A, that typical scene where he is kind of saying that India is the country like this, we are not like abroad, we have such cultures. So that particular scene was there in Kirik Party, and it just shows that even till today, that movie is so loved and so enjoyed. And people, there are many kinds of people in the audience. Some might still be watching it trying to perfectly get a grip on it and trying to find something new, whereas some might be just enjoying it for the heroic commercial dialogues that it might have, just to blow those whistles and enjoy the movie and enjoy his attitude and his acting. And anyway, it's true, because this movie pleases all kinds of audience. So it's not like only the intelligent audience will watch it again and again. It's nothing like that. Anyone can watch it because it has so many elements to be enjoyed, and that's the beauty of this film. So the non-linear screenplay that I was talking about is something that is the selling point or the USP of this film, because that is something we never get to see in Indian cinema, especially at that time. I mean, this movie is not a new movie, and at that time, to make a non-linear screenplay, that too in a Kannada film industry, it's not like it's made on a national level where you have a larger audience, and so you expect that even 10% of the audience, if they understand the movie, is great. It's a very small audience, and an audience that probably didn't really have exposure to a lot of other language movies or English movies or something like that to kind of understand this. So at that time, to make such a movie was a brave step and an amazingly honest and passionate kind of step that he took. And that's exactly what I meant at the start, that this is a perfect example of how passionate a director can be and how amazing a film one can make if it's pure passion, no matter how complicated it seems. The film is way, way, way ahead of its time. Like, I can't even imagine how amazingly mature the audiences were at that time to accept this movie, and it feels like we are regressing or going back in time today, because now the censor board doesn't allow some simple scenes. The censor board has a problem if we do a particular dialogue. So it just shows how much freedom we had back then, and how many brave topics were addressed, and how the audience was also brave, mature, and kind of understanding that this is just a movie and we just have to watch it, and if we don't like it, it's okay. If we like it, it's okay. If it makes money or not, it's okay. But that was the freedom, and that's something that's clearly visible, that it feels like today we can't make those kind of films very freely, and we have all kinds of restrictions, protests, this and that for one stupid thing. For example, there was a movie called Billu Barber, which was a remake of a South movie. It was a Shah Rukh Khan film with Irfan Khan, and there was a protest by all the barbers saying, "Hey, look, you cannot put the name barber, it's demeaning." I mean, come on, it's a story about a barber. What do you expect, So very, very silly things have been happening in the recent times, and so it just shows how amazing both the audience and the filmmaker and the film industry was at that time, that you could make such kind of movies and subjects. This is me assuming that the movie didn't get into any sort of trouble at that time, so I'm not sure if it did, and it doesn't look like, because it's a huge hit and even today it's appreciated. So that's wonderful. So this was an amazingly told story. Now, another thing I want to say is that the movie, if you noticed, it went through back and forth. Obviously, everyone noticed that it had a screenplay which went back and forth. It went, up and down. But at the same time, it was very straightforward. It was like a story within a story within a story, multiple flashbacks, things going back and forth. And one could get really confused, whereas you don't understand anything when you watch it the first time. But I don't think that was the case. I think that the movie was yet very straightforward to understand, and yet very simply told. And so it's very, very intelligent of him to make a movie that is in fact complicated, but people do understand it. And so even at the time, although some people might not have understood it perfectly and would have wanted to watch it over and over again to understand it, they still understood at least 50% of what's going on. And that's the beauty of this film, because you don't want to make a film that no one understands at all. No one understands even 10% of the movie and then say that you made a great film. So that's why it's so valid till today, because it's still a movie that you can understand it to some extent, if not completely. And once you watch it with a little more attention, you'll understand it better and better. And this is a lovely story. It's a story with a very sensitive subject. It's a story way ahead of its time, and I'm really, really happy that I watched this movie. It was outstanding. So I like this movie, and I'm happy to inform you guys that I also have Upendra, the movie Upendra with subtitles. So I'm looking forward to watch that too. I've also heard that of late he does only remakes and kind of remakes of Oh My God or Kanchana and stuff like that. Those were his recent films. So I hope he kind of does something, which is so innovative. Although I don't know if in today's time it will be accepted like it was back then. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to the movie Upendra because A was one of the best cinematic experiences in in the world, I'd say, not just in Indian cinema, in the world, because I'd never expected it to be at such a level of greatness, such a level of amazingly sensitive topics addressed in the most entertaining way, and something that's still ahead of its time even today. Like if you make that movie today, it's not even going to release. It was that kind of powerful. So I love the movie. This movie 100% deserves a 5 out of 5. There's no doubt about it. There's like 10 out of 5. If I could give, I would give it, but this was perfect. 5 out of 5 for A. I love the movie, and I hope you like this review. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and take care.